Newcastle fans are in dreamland. They have beaten PSG 4-1 in the Champions League to go top of their group. Probably one of the biggest results in Newcastle's history. And this result can just show how far Newcastle have come. You remember the relegation days where they were being up and down between the Championship and the Premier League, when they had really terrible results against teams that they probably should have been beating. And now they've got some dosh, they've got Eddie Howe, they've got a lot of new good players. They've shown tonight that they can compete with the big European teams. And can I just say, is there a better atmosphere than St James's Park in Europe? I don't think there's any other team that is so joined with the player and the fans. The tackle that Gordon had in at the start, where all the fans got up, and it just sets the mood for the game. I think Newcastle's fans play a really big role in how they won the game today. We've seen before with Newcastle where in the big games they'd have a lot of pressure on them. You had the Man City one where they lost 1-0 to Man City. The pressure probably got to them. The cup final against Manchester United, one of the big ones, one of the ones that a lot of people know. Pressure got to them a bit, but tonight was completely different. Tonight was a big statement for Newcastle United, and there was a lot of injuries going into this game for Newcastle as well, which was looking like it would be a problem. Botman was out, one of their best defenders. Lascelles replaced him, who, bear in mind, Lascelles was there in the relegation days of Newcastle. He isn't one of the big players that they've signed with all the money they've got, and he performed superbly. Joe Willock, Callum Wilson and Joel Linton were also injured, but they have the talent and the players to replace them, as shown tonight. I don't like to say it, but I think Gordon was one of the best players on the pitch. And Bruno Guimaraes dominating the midfield. Even the goal scorers, apart from Dan Burn, they're all sort of from that Newcastle era that fans don't really want to remember. And this gives Newcastle tons of momentum going into their next few games. They've got West Ham next. Hopefully the Hammers can break that. That was one of the worst starts I've ever seen in the Champions League from PSG. After the first 1 or 2 goals, you probably just think, well, Newcastle are going to go on and win this fairly comfortably. Even Mbappe, he hardly had a touch of the ball. There was Dembele, who had a few little moments but couldn't really impact the game. Teams now will fear coming to St James's Park. It's an absolute fortress. We saw Liverpool almost crumble there despite their comeback with, 9 men. Man City came there in the EFL Cup and got put to sleep, to be honest. And Newcastle are going places. Could there be a cup for them to win this season? Maybe the Carabao Cup yet again. Champions League, can they win the Champions League? Comment down below if you think Newcastle will win the Champions League. Why not? That'll be a big twist, won't it? Anyway, cheers for watching. You've been watching the Full Time Podcast. Goodbye.